Today I'm in St James in London, just a stone's throw from Buckingham Palace. And I'm here to go to one of the most famous department stores in the world, Fortnum Mason. Now the reason I'm going to Fortnum Mason is to check out their afternoon tea. Now this should be a very special one because Fortnum Mason actually provide tea to the royal family. They curate it and they create special blends. So let's head inside Fortnum Mason and check out what the afternoon tea is actually like and whether it stands up to the Ritz and Harrods. So here I am inside the Diamond Jubilee Tea Salon at Fortnum Mason, and this place is really, really nice. Very high-end, really sort of upmarket, bit Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, that sort of feel. And the reason why it should be like that is because this place was opened by the Queen Elizabeth II herself. Now, if you speak to anybody in England and you say the Queen, most people still think of Queen Elizabeth II rather than the current Queen. And I have to say, the first impressions, really, really good. Now, as mentioned outside, Fortnum Mason are a curator of tea. They are experts in tea, and you can buy over 1,000 different types of tea downstairs. And here, they've got two menus. They've got the afternoon tea menu here, and then this menu is the tea menu. And so you've got over 100 different blends of tea here that you can have with your afternoon tea, and you can chop and change. So you could have all 100 of them if you wanted to. Now, obviously I'm not going to do that. Now, the one that I've gone for, the one that I've selected, is actually really famous. It's called Royal Blend here, and it was created for King Edward VII back in 1902, I believe it was. So Fortnum Mason actually made this specifically for him, and they're still selling it, and it's their best seller today. So that's what I'm going to have. We've ordered the classic afternoon tea, and you can have lots of different options. There's actually a savoury afternoon tea here, so rather than having sweet treats as well as the finger sandwiches and the scones, you can have savoury treats, so you don't have anything sweet. Now, that's crazy talk. In my mind, I would never do that. I want the cakes. I want to see what the cakes are like because that's always a good sign as to how good the restaurant is. So I've ordered the classic afternoon tea. Actually comes in at £85. It's not cheap, but I've got a deal. So if you're interested in coming here, have a look on the internet. You will be able to find some sort of deal. So I managed to get this for £70 each rather than £85 each. So that's a saving of £30, and it's instant. You do it, you buy it, and then you get a code. I got it through Virgin Experiences, but there's lots of different options out there. So if you're coming and you're planning ahead, then do that. And the other tip is always get the tap water rather than bottled water because it's a lot more expensive. So we put our order in. We're waiting for the tea and the food to arrive. So let's see what it's like when it comes. The full afternoon tea has now arrived, and interestingly here, you get it on 3 tiers and everything comes all together. So we've got the sandwiches and the scones and the cakes, but we're just going to talk about the sandwiches to start with. Now, just want to say in terms of the layout of the table, really big table, which is great. And this is quite upmarket. So I've got a nice tablecloth, got the knife and fork, which is pretty standard. But then we've also got this thing, which is a cake fork. So a special fork just for eating cakes. So you can see it's got a strengthened bit to get through the cake. And we'll come on to that later when we have the cakes. So let's have a look at the sandwiches. Now, as with most other afternoon teas, it's unlimited refills here. So to get your money's worth, and you really should, if you fancy some more, ask for some more sandwiches. We'll probably do that with the scones and the cakes, probably not so much with the chemicals. Now, this is the presentation of sandwiches. It's okay, I think it's all right. And we've got 5 different types here. Well, our tea is just coming in now. So fantastic. So, well, I've got a tea. The cameraman's actually got a coffee. So letting the side down a little bit there. But I've gone for the Royal Blend, as I mentioned earlier. So I'd say these teacups are really quite nice. Probably the nicest teacups that I've seen in any of the afternoon teas. Nice attention to detail. Sorry, the waitress was just giving us the tea. So here is the Royal Blend tea. Well, that's very smooth, really nice. This is an afternoon tea. So the difference with English breakfast and English afternoon is there's less caffeine. It's a bit smoother, doesn't keep you awake all night. So that is a really nice cup of tea, and I do like the cup. The presentation here is fantastic. This is the good British afternoon tea experience. Okay, let's have a look at these sandwiches. Now, we'll start off with this one. We've got the classic array of sandwiches, but we'll go through them. Now, usually you get smoked salmon. This isn't smoked salmon, this is trout, smoked trout. So similar type of flavour, and it's on beetroot bread. Now, they've made a bit of a mess of this sandwich. You can see there's a bit of a blemish on that, but I'll let them off. Let's see what the taste is like. It's got some cream cheese and smoked trout. It's quite thick, the trout, and quite fishy, if you like that sort of flavour. Stronger than salmon. The beetroot bread is quite sort of chewy. Doesn't really taste of beetroot. It looks like beetroots, but doesn't taste of it. That's a solid sandwich. Haven't got a problem with that. Next up is English ham and mustard. Again, that is a standard sandwich that you'll get on most afternoon teas. It's on a white bread. Looks pretty. That's pretty old-fashioned. If you used to go around to your grandma's house and she'd make you a sandwich, it might have looked like that back in the day. That's really nice. English mustard, so it's got a little bit of a kick to it. So if you're not used to that, be prepared for a little bit of spice. Next up, another standard coronation chicken on brown bread. It's a good amount of filling. I have to say these sandwiches, they're a good size. They're not too big. Sometimes you go to places and they're too big and they're not too small. So just about right. It's probably 4 or 5 bites in this. The coronation chicken is basically curried chicken with some raisins and sultanas. Again, tasty, nice, fairly standard. Good, but nothing spectacular. Next up, another stalwart, it's egg mayonnaise. So on sort of slightly, I think that looks like poppy seed bread. That's nice, actually. It's very creamy. That's good. Doesn't taste too eggy. Like that. And then finally, the hero of everybody's sandwich dish, it's cucumber and cream cheese on a white bread. So let's see what this is like. Bit too much cream cheese for me. I like a bit more cucumber and a bit less cheese, but it's okay. It's quite nice. I'll definitely have my cucumber a little bit thicker than that. I like a bit more cucumber in my cucumber sandwiches. But they're the 5 sandwiches. Pretty good, pretty standard. I think a bit nice, but I have to say the overall ambience here and just the general feel is really quite nice. It's just very pleasant. It just feels like a sort of celebration. So happy with the sandwiches, but very happy with this environment. So we're going to crack on with the sandwiches. I'll see you for the main part of any afternoon tea, the scones. Okay, so the waitress came over and asked if we wanted any more sandwiches, and I said, well, I quite like the coronation chicken, and the cameraman said, quite like the egg mayonnaise. So we were expecting 1 each of those sandwiches. This is what she brought. So we've got 8 of the coronation chicken and 3 of the egg mayonnaise, which is way more than we'll be able to eat, but absolutely fantastic. So if you're coming here and you do fancy a refill on the sandwiches, don't be afraid to ask, because you will get it and you can have unlimited sandwiches. Now, we don't want unlimited sandwiches, but we might want more scones. So I'll see you in a moment when we get to the scones. Okay, it's now time for the absolute best part of afternoon tea, the scones. So here they are. So I've got a standard scone and a fruit scone. It's a bit of a wobbly stand, this one. So fruit scone's always my favourite, but let's start with the standard. So the way to do this, don't use the knife. That's not the way the royal family uses it. You actually break it with your hand. So if it's a good scone, it should just break nice and cleanly. And it has, very nicely. Didn't take much. Now, this scone is really quite hard on the outside, which I like it. It's sort of crispy, seems really good. And it's very light. And inside, nice and fluffy. Let's see if I can break this other one as well. Oh, that's beautiful. And you've got a nice few raisins there. So, it's got a dusting of icing sugar on there, which is unusual. Now, these are the condiments. They come in this nice little tiered section. The difference here to anywhere else is that these jams are Fortnum and Mason jams. So you can buy these downstairs if you want to. So this is their own jam that they're jarring up and selling on. So we've got strawberry preserve, and then the other one, which is tricky to get out because it's too big for that. So you have to get it out through the top section. This one is orange curd. So previous afternoon teas, we've had lemon curd on a couple of them, but we've got orange curd today, which is a new one. So let's see what it's like. Well, it's easy to open for starters. There we go. It's got a little message inside. It says spread joy. It's quite a nice little touch. And then we've got the clotted cream. Now this is the most clotted cream that we've had at any afternoon tea. There's a huge amount here. Feels a bit like butter, but anyway, we'll wait and see what it's like. Okay, so which way round am I going to do it today? I'm going to go for the jam first. So let's see what this jam's like. It's quite nice and soft. I'm going to have the fruit scone. So let's put this jam on here. Now, I probably shouldn't have done that because I'm going to put jam in. I'm going to take the cameraman's knife because I don't want to put jam into the clotted cream. I think I meant to use a spoon really, but I'm using... Now this is a really nice consistency actually, really just about the right level. Soft, but not too soft. Okay, so that's just about gone on there. Now, I know a lot of people get upset that I don't put enough cream on, but that seems like enough for one bite. That scone is amazing. It's really good, really light. But as I said, it's hard enough that it's not falling apart. No sign of any breakage. Cream's good. The jam, really tasty. Let's have another bit of that. So nice, I'm going to have another bit. That is one of the best scones that I've had. It's absolutely excellent. It's really light and fluffy. It's really tasty. Let's try... Although I'm going to get a mess now because I've used the knife for everything. But I'm going to go in for the orange curd. I've been given a spoon by the cameraman. Look, the cameraman's telling me off for not using the spoon. So this is the way the royal family would do it anyway. They would spoon everything on. So let's put the orange curd on first with the spoon. And then I'll use my spoon for my tea. So you can use whatever method you like, but I'm just showing you a different type. You can use 2 spoons if you like. There you go, looks good. Let's see what the orange curd tastes like. That scone's amazing. And the orange curd, it does taste a bit like lemon curd. Obviously, it tastes a little bit orangey. Not a hugely strong flavour, just a little hint of orange. Out of the two, I definitely prefer the jam. I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to these scones. Jam and cream, that's what it's all about. Lemon curd, orange curd, a little bit too funky for me. It's nice. If you like oranges and you want some curd, then buy one of these from the shop. But I would have preferred if I had a different type of jam here. But I have to say, scones are amazing. Jam's really good. Cream is fantastic. So this is one of the best scones that I've had. So I'm going to crack on, eat the rest of this. See you in a moment for the cakes. Right, the scones are now done. It's time to move on to the cakes. And here is the cake selection. So we have got a rose eclair. So it's like a little chocolate eclair, but it's rose flavoured. Orange mousse, coconut loaf, treacle tart, quite unusual, and chocolate and hazelnut praline. So which one first? It's decisions. I'll start off with what I'd classify as the most boring and move on to the most interesting. So coconut loaf, it doesn't strike me as being the nicest cake ever. It's quite moist, it feels quite heavy. Quite a lot of cream on the top. Quite coconutty. Well, it's quite a nice texture. It's a bit sticky. Quite coconutty. I'm not really a massive fan of coconut. Not quite sweet enough for me. It's all right, but yeah, not my favourite cake. But as I said, I thought it'd be the most boring. Probably going to be right. Now, which one next? Okay, let's go for this orange mousse. I quite like the way they've done it. So they've made it like an orange. So, you know, in terms of the aesthetic, it looks pretty good. Got a bit of chocolate on the top. See that? Okay, let's see. I'm going to use my little special cake fork for this one because it looks a bit messy. Let's just cut it. Oh, it's spongy. And It's got a good bit of orange filling in it, you can see here. It's got a bit of orange at the top. Well, it's really nice. It's really light and sort of soft, a little bit gelatinous, but just sort of slips down your throat. Really powerful orange flavour. That's really tasty, actually. I'll be surprised if any of the rest of them are better than that. I should have saved that one to the end. Anyway, let's have a go at this treacle tart. Now, treacle tart's quite a traditional British dessert. It's got a big load of cream on the top of it. It feels quite heavy. So let's see what it's like. You see here, it's got a lot of treacle in the middle. It's got quite a strong treacly toffee type flavour. That's actually pretty tasty. That's quite nice. Actually, the waitress, when she brought it, she said this was her personal favourite. Quite nice, that. It's quite light, even though it feels heavy. Quite light on the palate. It's got a little bit of a gingery aftertaste, like a ginger biscuit. Quite complicated, quite nice. That's quite good. That's quite good. I don't know why they bothered with that coconut loaf. What a waste of time. Okay, so look at the... I'll try the eclair next, because the chocolate is usually such a powerful taste that you can't really taste anything after that. Now, this is really nicely made. It's like a tiny little choux pastry, done in the shape of an eclair, and then they've done a little rose. Is that a rose petal? Yeah, it's like a... And that's a proper rose petal. I'm not sure you weren't meant to eat that, but or maybe you are, but it doesn't taste very good. Okay, so let's have a taste what it's like. There's some cream inside it. It's basically a tiny little eclair. Ooh, wow. It's a really strong rose flavour. So, if you've ever had Turkish Delight, that's the pink Turkish Delight. If you get the traditional Turkish Delight from Turkey, where it's pink and yellow, and the red one, the pink ones are rose flavour, that's what this tastes like. Quite nice, really light. That's a nice little treat. Pretty good, actually. Okay, let's see what this chocolate and hazelnut dessert is like. Oh, before we do that, I meant to tell you some history on the Fortnum Mason, but I've been too busy eating all the afternoon tea to actually get around to it. So Fortnum and Mason, the reason it's called that is because it was established by, you guessed it, William Fortnum and Hugh Mason, so two guys, back in 1707, so over 320 years ago, roughly. And William Fortnum was actually he worked for, he was a foot guard or whatever it's called for the royal family. So he was working with the royal family, and then he established this business as a grocery store, and they were serving the royal family. So that's where the link to royalty came from. So he was providing lots of food and drink to royalty, and they've maintained that relationship ever since. So they've got royal warrant today. They provide one of the official suppliers to Buckingham Palace and all of the royal food. So they've got that stamp of approval. And this restaurant was opened in 2012 by Queen Elizabeth II, because it was a Diamond Jubilee. She'd been on the throne for 60 years at that point. So quite a strong link to Buckingham Palace and the royal family, and that's where Fortnum & Mason came from. But it is amazing that they're still operating in the same building over 300 years later. Anyway, the afternoon tea has been served here since the late 1800s, so the 19th century. So more than 150 years of afternoon teas have been going on. Let's see what the hazelnut and chocolate dessert is like. Okay, so you can see it's got a nice bit of ganache in there. Let's see what it tastes like. Nice. Quite rich and chocolatey, but not too heavy, because I hate it when it's just like really stodgy ganache. Quite light, quite fluffy, quite tasty. So overall, I think this was a pretty good selection of desserts, apart from this one. Not sure why that one was on the plate even. Get rid of that. That's my feedback to the chef. Don't bother with your coconut loaf. Nobody wants that. That's just pure stodge. The rest of the things were quite nice. In terms of how they were presented, could do a bit better than just chucking them all on this plate, I think. But taste-wise, fantastic. So I'm going to finish the rest of these. I'll give the cameraman a chance to have their cakes, have a bit more tea, and I'll see you at the end for the wrap-up. So if you do decide that you want to take some of the food home, this is how it's presented. Absolutely fantastic. You get these amazing little boxes. So I've got one for the sandwiches and one for the cakes and the scones. And they also give you any of the jam that you haven't finished. You get to take that home as well. You get to take it in this fantastic little Fortnum & Mason bag. So you can show off on the tube on the way back that you've been to Fortnum & Mason. So definitely worth doing if you're coming here. Okay, so here we are at the end of the meal, and I've got a nice little hot chocolate. that was given to me. So you can have tea or coffee or hot chocolate, anything you want, all the drinks. So I'd had quite a lot of tea, decided to have a bit of hot chocolate, see what that's like. Oh, very chocolatey, very indulgent, really tasty. That's nice. So, what did I think of the afternoon tea here at Fortnum Mason? Well, I have to say that the environment, the building, the restaurant that it's in, absolutely fantastic. This is what you want from afternoon tea. Gives you that sort of very British feel. Really well spaced out the tables, so you've got lots of privacy, and the food, the service here is amazing. So the waitress that we've had has been fantastic, really attentive. Offered us refills on everything. So we got a huge refill of sandwiches, which you can see are here. Got a full refill of scones and a full refill of cakes as well. So we'll get the scones and the cakes boxed up, take them home. So that's a nice little take-home gift if you're coming. So that's really good. What did I think of the food itself? Well, the sandwiches, I think, were decent. They were good. You know, they're tasty, quite nice, good size. Usual array of fillings. So didn't have any cheese, actually. I always like to have a cheese one, but no cheese here today. But they were pretty good, pretty nice. I think the presentation could have been slightly better. You know, this tray, this thing here, you can see that, I don't know if the cameraman's got that in shot or not, but this it's a nice little service. But just small points like the plates are slightly different colours, so they're not quite all matching. Maybe that's by design, but I don't think that looks as good. But anyway, you know, and everything's a little bit crowded on here. They're all sort of packed in a bit. Anyway, apart from that, I think the food itself was good. The scones were the best scones that I've had. So far, of all the afternoon teas I've had in London, those scones topped the list because they're the right size. They're sort of not too big, not too small. Really nice on the outside, sort of quite hard, but inside super soft. Really light flavour, amazing. The jam was really good. The orange curd, a little bit more controversial. Wasn't to my taste. The cameraman preferred that to the jam, so each to their own. The clotted cream was incredible, really smooth, came out, worked really well. Now, what about the cakes? Well, the cakes, interestingly, they didn't look that great. So they're sort of, I've got them here. This is the refill, so you can see sort of just all packed onto a plate. So presentationally, not the best. Could do better. I think this orange one is amazing, so that looks really good. The presentation of them's all right. It's not super high end. When you go to some afternoon teas, the cakes are incredible. They blow you away. These ones, they were all right. Taste-wise, they were pretty good though. So quite nice and tasty, and good variety of different flavours and different types of texture. Forget about the coconut loaf though. Don't know why they put that in there. Maybe you like coconut loaf, I don't. So I think cakes-wise, pretty good. So overall, I think this is a great afternoon tea, really amazing. The scones were incredible, and they're my favourite part. So what about the bill? Well, as you can see, I don't have a bill in front of me. And the reason I don't have a bill is because I paid in advance with a deal, and it was £140 for two, so £70 each, which was £15 saving per person on the list price if you came here. Now, interestingly, when I did that with the Harrods bill, they still charged me service charge. So they still charged me on top of what would have been the bill, they still charged me £20 or £30 service charge. Here, they haven't done that. They brought me a bill, I said I've already paid, and they expected them to bring me another bill with the service charge, nothing. So they said, no, nothing else to pay. So I haven't even paid a service charge. So this has been an absolute bargain. So if you're going to come, make sure you do that. What's my score for today? I have to say the Fortnum Mason afternoon tea is really good. I know I've whinged a little bit about the sandwiches and the cakes, but overall, it's a great experience, and the scones were out of this world. So I'm going to give this afternoon tea a very, very high score of 9 out of 10. Now, 9 isn't somewhere where I go very often. It deserves it. So if you're coming to London, you're thinking about doing an afternoon tea, have a look at some of the videos that I've made, but Fortnum Mason should definitely be on your list of ones to consider. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, then please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I'll see you again on the next meal.